Hello, this is Roberto Michel, Senior Contributing Editor with Manufacturing Business Technology. Welcome to this program on lean supply chains, facing the global recession. In the decades since Toyota Motor Company introduced lean techniques such as pull scheduling and Kanban with its Toyota production system, many companies worldwide have adopted lean as a central methodology for manufacturing operations. Lean has many definitions, but basically, it focuses on eliminating waste by building to a demand signal rather than building to a forecast. Through techniques such as value stream mapping and Kanban, a form of inventory management and replenishment signaling, the pace of production is pulled along according to the demand signal. While there is some minimal planning of inventory buffers and Kanban sizings involved in lean operations, the whole idea behind lean is to build to actual demand, thereby eliminating large buildups of raw materials or finished goods. Lean has many notable successes beyond Toyota, including U.S.-based companies such as Danaher and OK International, a provider of tools used in the electronics industry, who we'll hear from later in this program. Lean clearly has been a success for these and other companies, but like any other strategy in manufacturing, Lean hit a major bump in the road last fall, a largely unexpected and severe global recession. Think about it. For years, Lean practitioners could count on a growing economy and fairly incremental upticks in the calculations behind their Kanban sizings and other Lean methods. But the global recession has made historical demand patterns irrelevant in many manufacturing sectors. Lean practitioners have had to revisit Kanban sizings and Lean techniques to adjust them to the new realities. At the same time, another evolution has been ongoing with Lean. While Lean got its start at the factory level as a way of pacing and organizing production, over the last several years, Lean has expanded to include broader concepts at the supply chain level. Under the banner of Lean in the global supply chain, a number of factors come into play, such as supplier risk management, the reduction of inventory buffers across all tiers in the value chain, and the application of Lean concepts from everything to promotion planning, sales and marketing activities, and new product introduction and launch challenges. Experts say this broader Lean supply chain view is just right for the times. Experts say that Lean execution needs to be paired with better planning. For example, companies may use a sales and operations planning process whose output is used to reset parameters for Lean operations. In this program, you'll first hear how Lean techniques such as Kanban need to adapt to recessionary times. Further insights into how Lean can help a global supply chain will be provided by what OK International has learned from deploying electronic Kanban. We'll then hear from two experts on supply chain management, Larry Lapidi of MIT and Christian Verstraete of Hewlett-Packard. But first, let's turn to Lean manufacturing methods and how they need to be tuned up to run smoothly in these times. Julie Fraser, an industry analyst and president of Kambashi Incorporated, the U.S. operation of Cambridge, UK-based analyst firm Kambashi, says adjusting a Lean supply chain to the global recession may require a revisiting of both planning and execution tactics.
Planning and execution are both really, really critical at any point, particularly in this very volatile environment. Clearly, you do need to do planning, and you need as much as possible to provide a level demand signal through something like an e-Kanban mechanism to your suppliers.
E-Kanban, as Fraser points out, has both a pure execution aspect in that a Kanban email alert functions as a trigger, but Kanban also has a planning aspect when it comes to Kanban sizing. Companies have in some cases invested in software systems to help them recalculate optimal Kanban sizes in the face of shifting demand patterns.
E-Kanban piece it's an output of a planning process that allows you to execute effectively. So I think Kanban resizing and execution mechanisms are very, very important to ensure that replenishment can happen on a reliable basis, and so that the suppliers are not left, frankly, holding the bag with all of the material responsibility on their side.
Richard Leibovitz, CEO of Lean DNA, a vendor of lean manufacturing software offered under a software as a service or SaaS model, has been involved with lean for many years. Leibovitz believes that lean manufacturing's build-to-demand paradigm is actually well-suited to volatile demand shifts.
Well, when you look at the fundamentals of lean, part of the advantage in the whole strategy is to shift your manufacturing so that it's built to respond more directly to demand changes versus building it to respond to a forecast-driven way of working. So fundamentally, lean is actually built to be able to best deal with these type of issues. What we're seeing out there in the industry now is that people have kind of done lean and they've tried to do initiatives and Kaizen events in different areas, but fundamentally they don't really have the entire end-to-end system built to respond to demand and have lean fully deployed throughout the supply chain.
Leibovitz agrees with Fraser that companies need to refresh their lean programs through practices such as more frequent analysis and resizing of Kanbans in light of the latest demand trends.
If you look at a Kanban, for example, some of the key criteria is what your consumption rate is. So based on the shifts in the market right now, you do have to go back and make those adjustments. And in fact, a lot of companies may go in there and do this once every 6 months, once a year. But what we've always told companies is you need to be in there monitoring that stuff monthly and doing some major resizing at least every quarter.
Leibovitz also points out that lean programs and lean software systems rarely work in a vacuum. More likely than not, companies have an ERP system underlying their lean tools. That ERP system likely holds master data on inventory, lead times, and it may hold reorder points in its procurement module or machine changeover data in its production management module.
The other thing that we're seeing is the need to go in and very accurately understand your lead time, understand lot sizes, minimum buys from your suppliers, because that's another issue that we found is that people haven't really gone in there and maintained a lot of this ERP data. So people talk about lean versus ERP, but the reality is they have to work together.
While ERP systems often support lean, some companies say they've gotten much leaner by breaking away from traditional material requirements planning or MRP engines still used in many ERP implementations. MRP figures out how much of which components have to be ordered to meet demand, typically based on a forecast, and taking into account which goods or components are on hand. The catch with driving supply orders from a forecast in MRP, however, is that actual demand requirements may vary significantly from what was initially communicated to suppliers. MRP is still used by many companies and, to be fair, can play a valid role with some product lines, with long-term planning, or when paired with newer finite scheduling applications. But many companies have moved away from MRP to Kanban-based supply execution. Kanban within factories can be handled by physical cards or electronic boards, but between a manufacturer and its suppliers, electronic or web-based Kanban has grown in popularity. OK International, a leading global supplier of products for the electronics assembly workbench, has lived through this supply chain evolution. For years, the company struggled to execute efficiently around the limitations of forecasts and MRP before adopting a web-based Kanban system in 2005. OK International first deployed Altriva's e-Kanban and supplier replenishment software for its Garden Grove, California manufacturing facility in April of 2005. By adopting Kanban, OK International has been able to significantly cut its lead times, and along with that, trim inventory levels by 30% overall. To find out more about the implementation, I spoke with Ken Demirjan, VP of Operations for OK International. Demirjan says e-Kanban and Lean have cut lead times on deliveries to customers from between 4 to 8 weeks with a 60% on-time average, down to 1 to 2 weeks with an on-time delivery in the mid to high 90 percentile.